Even in the reality of Earth 311, set in the Elizabethan era of 1602, we have heroes who are overpowered. Of course, this could be because they were never really meant to exist in this time period. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we'll be learning more about some of the most exciting characters from Earth 311 and figuring out just who is the most powerful, as we count down the top 10 most powerful Marvel 1602 superheroes. Let's get counting. Number 10, Master Jonathan Storm. Master Jonathan Storm was a member of the Four from the Fantastic, who would become Count Otto von Doom's arch-nemesis as well as his prisoners. He and the rest of the Four from the Fantastic would eventually end up escaping from Doom's clutches and resuming their adventures. Master Jonathan Storm, like the rest of the team, had received his powers while on a sea voyage after their ship had passed through a mysterious light. This light, it turns out, was actually part of the anomaly. Jonathan, like his 616 counterpart, can engulf his body in flame. Doom had to keep him directly underneath a constant waterfall just in order to smother his powers enough to keep him contained. Number 9, Erique. Erique is the 1602 version of Magneto, and he is overwhelmingly powerful because he not only gets to keep the powers of Magneto from 616, but he also holds an important position with the Church as their Grand Inquisitor. In the world of Earth 311, mutants are actually believed to be the devil's work and are referred to as witch breed. It was Enrique's job to hunt them down and wipe them out, but being a witch breed himself, and his children Wanda and Petros also being witch breed as well, meant that he did his best to help these 1602 mutants, executing only those whose mutations could not be hidden and were generally more physical mutations. Anyone he felt he could help, he recruited to his own brotherhood in an attempt to protect them. Well, in our world, Magneto is more a villain or perhaps an anti-hero. In 1602, the Grand Inquisitor seems about as heroic as he could be given his position. So I think we can count him a hero here. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want to go to more alternate worlds, please be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8, Sir Nicholas Fury. Sir Nicholas Fury was a soldier who attained glory on the battlefield and was noticed for his service to the country and the crown by the Queen herself. She knighted Fury and also made him the head of her own secret network or service of spies. Nicholas Fury would recruit other heroes to his cause, and while he might not have any superpowers to speak of in this reality, he is a key player in many major storylines and battles of good versus evil in the world of 1602. He would go on to work for King James after the death of Queen Elizabeth, and later go rogue when he felt that his own beliefs for how to best keep the country and its citizens safe no longer aligned with his king's. He also kind of began to question whether or not he even cared really about saving the world, which, fair enough. Number 7, King James. King James I of England was more of a villain, I suppose, in terms of the narrative, but it is implied that he is also possibly known by a heroic name back on the Earth of 616. In 1602 Witch Hunter Angela issue number 1, it appears that King James is none other than a version of James Howlett. If this is true, it could be that his persecution of the witch breed was simply something he did in response to his own origins and hatred of his own abilities and of himself. But it's also unclear if this is the same King James. King James, in terms of his larger role in the world, took over as a ruler after the assassination of Queen Elizabeth. He was the driving force behind the Inquisition that sought to purge all witch breed from the country. King James was shown in 1602 Witch Hunter Angela to have powers similar to Wolverine of Earth 616. King James, as he appeared in Marvel 1602, was known for being the ruler of not just England but also of Scotland, and was making progress towards conquering and ruling Ireland as well. And if you're thinking, but wait a minute, King James in the 1602 reality was not very heroic. Yes, you're right, but the version of him that is kind of combined with Wolverine, Wolverine's a hero, and so by extension, that's why he's on the list. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Number 6, Virginia Dare. Virginia Dare is a unique character to come out of 1602, or she was intended to be unique anyways. Some have compared her powers to that of Canadian Marvel superhero Snowbird, but Neil Gaiman and Andy Kubert, who created Virginia Dare, intended for her to be an original character in the sense that she was not made to be a mirror or counterpart to any 616 superhero that already existed. Virginia Dare's powers allow her to shapeshift into any creature, including animals and even mythological beasts. She was the first child born in the Roanoke colony, which in the reality of Earth 311 never mysteriously disappeared in the 1580s. Virginia received her powers from coming into contact with the rift that brought Captain America into the 1602 reality, and she was also friends with his 311 counterpart known as Rojaz. Number 5. Captain Benjamin Grimm. Like Master Jonathan Storm, Captain Benjamin Grimm also ended up imprisoned by Count Otto von Doom. But where Jonathan was kept beneath a waterfall, Grimm was confined to a room so small he could not even sit in it. For years, he continued to thrash against the walls, and eventually, he managed to put a tiny crack in the wall of his cell. This crack would prove to be Grimm's salvation, allowing him to escape his cell and free his fellow teammates, who then were able to join up with Sir Nicholas Fury, who was also there at the time and eager to rescue his old friend Sir Richard Reed. And if you're wondering how a tiny crack did that, well, the tiny crack was obviously the beginning of everything falling apart in his cell, so yay. Benjamin, like his 616 counterpart, has a body that is incredibly strong due to his rock-like form. He was also the captain of the ship the four from the Fantastic sailed on when they got their powers, named, of course, the Fantastic. Hence why they're the four from the Fantastic. Get it? Number 4, Stephan Strange. Or Dr. Stephan Strange if you want. Stephan Strange was taken prisoner by sailors, being sold by them to a doctor from whom he learned many things both of science and of medicine. While on a mission to retrieve herbs for his master in exchange for his freedom, venturing up into the mountains, he ended up almost dying, but fortunately was saved by the members of a monastery. During his time there, he learned the mystical arts, and after recovering fully, he was able to complete his mission, returning with the herbs for the doctor in order to gain his freedom back. He would end up becoming the physician to the Queen of England, Elizabeth I, and would connect with Yuada, the Watcher, gaining knowledge that he could only speak of after his life had ended. Now, knowing that this was the only way for him to pass on the valuable knowledge that he had gained to other heroes of his world, he allowed himself to be executed. Once he had been beheaded, his wife, Clea, retrieved his head so that she could commune with her late husband in death to learn of the knowledge he had been given. It's all pretty powerful, I think. I think if you can die and then still be like a really cool hero and like help people after you die, that's pretty powerful to me. Number 3, Hulk. David Banner is the 1602 version of Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. He would take the place of Sir Nicholas Fury in King James's court after Fury betrayed and abandoned the new king. Initially, Banner was all for eradicating the witch breed and actually believed wholeheartedly in his mission, but after being exposed to the anomaly's energy while shielding his colleague and friend Peter Parquois, he found himself transformed into the creature known as the Hulk. He and Peter had been sent to the Americas to hunt down Fury and kill him on behalf of the king, but after this transformation, David began to question his loyalties and his beliefs. He would eventually return to England to surrender, but during his execution would actually transform into the Hulk and then kill King James. So I feel like if you kill a king, you're pretty powerful as well. I mean, the Hulk is just powerful in general. I think we can all agree. Number 2, Angela the Witch Hunter. As we learn in the main continuity, Angela of Earth 616 is actually Thor's lost sister, but in Earth 311, Angela was introduced as merely a mortal witch hunter who was tasked with hunting down and eliminating witch breeds on the behalf of King James. Later on, during Secret Wars, we would come to know her as a witch hunter who instead hunted demons. At least they seem like demons to me, referred to here as Faustians. Often these were characters we knew from 616, but then twisted into something evil in the style of the 1602 reality. So, having 311 counterparts like Captain James Buchanan. Angela traveled around with her lover and her companion Sarah, working to eliminate these Faustians in order to protect communities all over England from their villainous ways. She is immensely powerful in the end, becoming sort of a combination of her own 616 self and Enchantress after defeating Amora in this reality, but also becoming cursed with her power as a result. But even if you're cursed with power, you're powerful. Number 1, Thor of the Thunders. Or just Thor, or Donal the Ancient One. Donal the Ancient One is the old member of the Templar Order who ends up forced into becoming the mortal host for the pagan god known as Thor of the Thunders. This transformation happens when Donal is forced to defend himself and those he travels with while transporting the Templar artifact disguised as a stick that is really Thor's hammer Mjolnir. Thor is obviously one of the most powerful superhero characters in Marvel Comics, and he remains so even in this alternate world belonging to the 1602 universe of Earth 311. Thor is always super powerful. Ta-da! That's what happens when you can control the weather and thunder and lightning and all sorts of cool stuff. What are some of your favorite characters from Earth 311? Who do you think is the most powerful of the 1602 superheroes? If you could see your favorite Marvel heroes displaced in any time period, which would you choose? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it is time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Most Powerful Alternate Versions of Black Panther, the Marathon. Woohoo! Agent Purple responds, there should be a cosmic Black Panther, one with a silver-coated skin, the Silver Panther. Ooh, I like this idea, like a Silver Surfer Black Panther combo. I love that. However, I will say, if you are looking for Cosmic Black Panther, that kind of just happened. We actually got that in the Avengers Mech Strike series, I think in issue number 4, so go check that out. And you can have a Cosmic Panther too. Yay! Cosmic Black Panther is the best. Just a Peaceful Man Who's Born in the 1980s comments, all these alternate Black Panther versions were equally amazing, 100%. Well, thank you so much. I love looking into alternate characters and seeing sort of like who's the coolest or most powerful of the bunch. It's really fun. Charlotte Kendrick writes, R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. Yes, rest in power, Chadwick Boseman. You were missed more than you could probably even have imagined. I hope wherever you are at peace. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and feels shouted out in a future video. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight, reminding you, as always, to stay nerdy, YouTube.